Welcome back. Premade dominant slate here over on the Risen Esports Twitch back in the action. We've got ourselves a full loaded analyst desk. We got casters all behind us because it is starting to get action packed with these late season pushes for the Dominate League. And well, I'm not going to be going through this all alone here. I've got my main man Jake here. Help me out through the matchup, Jake. Certainly two teams that are in different spots this season so far as we roll towards the end of
Just a
the
little
regular
bit.
season. Just
Hopefully,
a
we
bit.
get to see Void get a first win today. That'd be real nice to see. I think that some of the recent patch changes might do some changes for what's getting picked in jungle. It looks like some of the main junglers that the Lobster is running have gotten a little bit nerfed with the tank Maokai, and but the Viego did get buffed, and he's got a lot of games on that. So I'd love to see Zatan on Viego for this game. No idea if it'll actually happen. I haven't. Uh, I think that some of those buffs in the jungle will be interesting to see how they shake out.
I'm right there with you, Jake. I mean, Viego, it's interesting, right? I feel like it's a topsy turvy kind of way with him. You either nerf him into the ground where he becomes unplayable, or you buff him to a point where he's taking over games. We'll have to figure out if he's to the point where he's taking over games, especially for tonight's slate. And you heard Jake allude to our matchup tonight, and you obviously could see it yourselves. Children of the Void 0-4, looking for their first win in the second division of Dominate this slate. And on the other side, it's the Lobster option 3-1, looking to solidify themselves a postseason spot. And the most intriguing part is both of these teams actually had to participate in our play-ins for Dominate. We had too many teams sign up, so they all had to play in to secure a spot. Both these squads did secure a spot, but Jake, obviously, two very different trajectories once they landed in Dominate.
Yeah, it's been unstoppable for the Lobster option. Other than that one game, 3-1 versus a 0-4 team. I hope it's a close game, but it could be more of what we've seen out of Void. But I hope to see some changes, and I hope they're um. I think it was their support player. Yeah, I'd like to see his Alistair come out. That Alistair's gotten buffed a couple of patches in a row. He lost a little bit of his teammate healing, but they gave that back. But he's gotten some damage buffs, some CC cooldown buffs, and I think I'd really like to see that come out from Jusang. Jusung, sorry, the Void support player.
Yeah, I think Alistair is one of those really dynamic supports that I haven't seen in a while. So I think it's great that you pointed that out. And when he's talking about the Lobster option squad, honestly, it's rare that in a couple of the splits that I've been at least involved around Dominant, that I have seen a player kind of pop off to get themselves a team into Dominant and then continue to play. But Bedard, the AD carry player for the Lobster option, absolutely took over the last time he was on the main stage for Dominant. So it's time to figure out if he can put up or shut up to send his team basically to clinch playoffs. And it looks like we have draft already starting here for game number 1. So it's time for me and Jake to take a bit of an exit, and we will throw it right over to Slatty and Swift Duelist. Your casters for tonight take us through the first draft between these two squads.
What's up, party people? And welcome to the Risen Premade Dominant League. And today we got an exciting matchup. We're already getting into draft with this lovely display, okay? Swift Duels, how are you feeling today, my man?
I'm feeling pretty good. Started off slow, had a couple pancakes, so went through the
Yeah.
crash, but now I'm back up in terms of energy. We got some Risen games going on, so I'm here for all of it, you know?
Yeah, I woke up, for me personally, my dad, he had leftover, Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's, please sponsor me, okay? In any specific way. You're the best fast food place, but that's besides the point. What is the point though is that we were getting into draft. And you know what? Here's the thing, right? On this stream, I like to talk about a bunch of random things sometimes. But
True.
I think this is slightly important to note that Void, Daughters of the Void, or Children of the Void, have
Yeah.
Void in all of their summoner names. Which Okay, from my experience either means they are really good or the opposite, you know? And the
It's
record is showing the opposite right now, but I hope they can prove us wrong in this game.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just the thought that counts. You got to put yourself into the mindset. And I mean, speaking of mindset, it's kind of interesting that Void first champion they banned is a Void champion. They
This
banned
Kai'Sa, yeah.
Kaisa, and it's just like, all right, come on, at least stick to theme. At least the few games that I casted of them, they did stick to that, and they decided to go for a Varus. Not bad.
I mean, just interesting bands. Yeah, they end up locking in the Varus. I mean, please, I just don't want like Varus. Please don't pick Ashe. Like the thing is, right, is that okay, we got some spicy picks. All right, I want to talk about this right now because as a bot lane who plays on a team, I unfortunately play for a different league. The
Okay.
thing is that Varus, Ashe, that kind of bot lane is super strong in the early game because you can poke out, you can trade level 1, do all this, do all that. And some bot lanes will opt to go like, oh, I'm just going to play Caitlyn, or I'm going to play this very even. Both have like a lot of poke, a lot of pressure, a lot of things, right? Or alternatively, you go for something aggressive like the Samir analysis, say, hey, you can pick anything you want. You can pick this Varus, this Karma, but we will stomp you in lane if your jungler doesn't come out to relieve the pressure. And so that is just a different style of gameplay, and I really prefer it over just coin flipping, you know, a double ranged bot lane into double ranged bot lane.
Definitely. I mean, you have to respect it, especially since Nautilus is one of those support champions on the list of melee supports that got buffed recently, and you kind of want to see him more prominent in the meta thanks to like all that double range stuff that we had to deal with for a lot of the meta. And I mean, into Varus who's pretty immobile, they definitely have angles to go for it, but for Children of the Void, they picked Wukong, which is a pretty gank focused jungler, at least to my understanding. He wants to go and make plays around the map, so maybe he can bail them out somehow in that lane.
Yeah, Wukong, very strong champion. I think that there's like the S tier junglers, like up here. You got the Vi, you got the Sejuani, you got the Maokai. And then a little under that is Wukong. He kind of provides a similar sort of thing where he's got good engagement, he's got decent damage. Like he has pretty much everything you need in a quality jungler. It's just he's not over the top just yet. But once those junglers start getting nerfed, we'll definitely see Wukong come into prominence again.
For sure. I mean, a lot of people say he's just like not that good, but he does kind of serve a purpose, does have a lot of disruption, but definitely gonna see how that play or like that pick plays out. And the Lobster option, banning a lot of mid laners. He banned Syndra and Cassio, and I think those two are pretty solid picks into the Sylas, which they just picked up, which is not bad. I want to see. They already got a few ultimates that's decent for him. I mean, Wukong ult and Varus ult are nothing to scoff at.
Okay, from what I can witness, the draft for the Lobsters, right, is very like, we want a 5v5 and we just want to lay all our abilities down at once. We want to pick those fights. How do you respond? Like, I see the response as the Aatrox and Galio. Do you agree with this sort of response into this style of comp?
I mean, it's an interesting response. I mean, the Galio does fit. Like, you want to have that CC for the Sylas and the Samira, and Aatrox is a champion that just isn't going to go down easily, so another just benefit picking into Samira, and it seems like the Lobster option opted to go for Ahri mid and Sylas in the jungle. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm thinking that's
Yeah,
how they're playing this one out.
that's probably what they're doing. Interesting decision. You know, I don't see Silas jungle too much. Um,
Mhm.
a Swift. What role do you play, by the way? Just
I
curious.
play AD in top.
Okay, lovely, fellow AD main. So I was just gonna ask you,
Mhm.
like, what do you think of Silas jungle in general? Like, from your experience playing with it, playing against it, like how like really viable it is? Because it's very like I don't know. I don't think it's a test like too tested. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, like as of recently, I say the past like month or so, he wasn't really too much in the meta, but he was really big in the meta like during preseason, like actual preseason, not when they decided to drop like a preseason's worth of changes in the past month or so. And he was pretty solid. I think he just kept up. I think his benefit was that he kept up with a lot of the tank junglers that were coming up, especially with Heartsteel and all those items just coming in and making tanks really strong. Um, and I feel like he serves a similar purpose where he's just going to be looking to farm up and then uses just stats out of his items that he builds in team fights. And right now, he's got some decent ultimates to steal. I mean, you give him Galio ulti on a silver platter, Aatrox ultimate on Silas is not bad. Wukong, you can just match his disruption. So I feel like it's a really solid spot. And overall, I'm really liking how Lobster Option drafted their comp.
I would definitely agree. I just like the draft, from Lobster Option. Because they have the confidence to go to the Samira Nautilus. I think it works really well into their team comp. They really built around that. But I would like to draw the viewers' attention to the bot lane. I do this a lot, but I'm so glad that as a bot laner, for at least the casting perspective, I can say for like majority of games that it's a bot-centric meta, and so looking at the bot lane is probably the most important thing. Some games you do have the hyper carry tops that some teams play for, but this game, if you like, I feel like the way you can tell who the primary carry is if you take out that champion, the comp falls apart. And I think for both team comps, it ends up having to be the AD carry. Without a Samira, there is some damage, but it's primarily AP from Lobster Option. They could get an Ahri ahead, but she can kind of struggle to do too much, especially with a tanky front line. It can hard to have consistent damage. But something like a Varus, if you take out Varus out of Void's comp, that unless Aatrox gets ahead, you can really start to struggle. So I'm going to look to see if both junglers opt to play for the spot side. And speaking of the fight spot side that might occur, which team do you think has the advantage 3v3, 2v2 wise?
Whew, I mean, dang. If it's like at level 6, I might give it to Void because they're level 6. Like having Wukong ult and Varus ultimate is just way too much disruption, I feel like. Silas is just kind of working off whatever he can get, and then Samira has to take that time to ramp up and actually use her ultimate. So I'd give it to them, but in the early game, I'm probably going Lobster Option because, yeah, you have a range advantage with Varus Karma, but Nautilus Samira just has so much damage, especially at level 3, that I feel like Children of the Void have to kind of just play very cautiously with their spacing. They if one misstep can really swing the tides in this lane.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it is. For like as of late, like if you can get that advantage bot lane, it is so incredibly easy to snowball it. Like with a Samira Nautilus, you're just getting dive 24/7. With the Varus Karma, you can't walk up to lane or farm because they just froze it on you. It's such like it can be annoying sometimes because the game can be decided so incredibly early just by these early fights, and so you really have to have a strong, confident bot lane to survive in this meta and to survive in the league. And Total Lobster Option, definitely you kind of picking the Giga Chat champions. Like you pick Samira Nautilus if you are confident you can win the lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Varus and Karma is more like, even if we don't win the lane, we still have ways to come back. We're like good scaling. We have those options like later in the game. But, we're waiting for spectator delay. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We got plenty of time. I will go into predictions a little bit later and ask you. But, for the top side of the map, do you think Ornn, is going to be able to like survive an Aatrox? Will Aatrox be allowed to free farm and then become a problem late game, or will Ornn really like kind of shut down that sort of champion?
I think it'll just be a bit of a rougher early game, just for the Ornn. A lot of times when I have to play this matchup in the top lane, because I do enjoy Ornn, you kind of just have to Q farm and just take those short trades whenever you can. You don't want to take extended trades with them, but Ornn just has such high base damage that you can definitely find angles to get really close 1v1s with the Aatrox. So just probably have to play more cautiously.
I see. And now I think the most interesting matchup, the one that I guess from my perspective, the most interesting matchup is this Ario Galio. Not necessarily because I think that their 1v1s all particularly engaging, the charm, the taunt, whatever, but how they approach the mid game when these sixes come out. Both champions are the roam gods of mid lane, right? Ahri has so many dashes. If she comes bot and she's on your screen, 2 seconds later, she's charming your face, right? And Galio can if he can slightly hover, he puts in a lot of pressure. And so I think what's going to decide this game, if, we'll do some like if-else statements. If, Nautilus and Samira hard win bot lane, right? Then or Varus Karma hard win bot lane. If they get those early kills before the pre-6, then that will be the decider of bot lane. But post-6, if else, then I think it's going to be the mid laner and the jungler together who decide to roam and really invest all their resources into the bot lane will determine the outcome of the game. You know?
Hmm. I think that's definitely a fair conclusion because Void does have that, like you mentioned, their bot lane. Varus Karma, not like the strongest in the early game, and they have that benefit of like we have that insurance of scaling later. And Wukong and Galio kind of supplement that. It's like once both of them hit 6, it kind of just opens the floodgates as to what do we want to do, where we have all this influence, where are we going to focus it on. So if by chance Children of the Void fall behind in the bot lane, they do have that opportunity to recover thanks to that Wukong and thanks to that Galio. And that is an advantage I'll give them over the Lobster option right now.
Hmm. And we have 1 second. Spectator delay is over. But before we get into it, final predictions. Which team do you think has the better comp?
I'm giving it to Lobster option. Ornn Enjoyer, you may label me that. I see Ornn, I'm gonna be like, yep, they're just gonna scale. So even if the early game doesn't go super well, they got some kind of insurance, and at that point, I'm just gonna give it to them. So
All right. I'm going to give it total option too, especially since they're playing Samir. I enjoy quite a bit of Samir in my time as AD carry. Not really. I'm more of a Draven Samir player than I am a Varus, Karma, Philius, kind of those things. You know what I'm saying? I can get that.
got you.
Slowly loading in, getting ready to commence the game 1 of this best of 3 series. The daughter, Children of the Void, trying to get on the board here. Trying to get that first win. They've gone through 4 games, fortunately lost all 4. Want to see if they can maybe get a stake back into the league. Maybe their shots of playoffs are kind of shot, but they can at least show and have experience towards the end. And then on the other side, we got Total Lobster option. Looking to clench that playoff spot. Make sure that they can get to the later parts of the league. And, trying to be contender for the trophy. We'll have to see how it plays out in this game, and we're going to throw it right there. We're trying to get loading in, getting the spectator delay. And here we go. We're loading into the game, getting ready. I'm excited for game 1 of this insane series. And we already got the 5-man walking bot.
Already some interesting stuff to see. I mean, you have a Nautilus, might as well use him. Just look to make some kind of play. If anything, get some vision advantage, and do see a majority of Children of the Void heading in the bot side of the map too.
Yeah, they want, you have a Nautilus. You're going to invade. You have the stronger early engagement, the level 1, so you want to definitely do it. But it is smart of Children of the Void to stack all in this bush, because I feel like the counter engage from Galio can honestly, do a lot of work, especially if you can taunt 3 or more members. And it looks like we're going to have the most coin flip game of coin flip games here. Pancakes Man, the first one in. As they look for the hook, they're not spotted out. Galio charging up the taunt, hits a taunt, and this should be all she wrote. 3 kills for Children of the Void, looking to make it 4. You coin flip the game, you take the L, and it's a double kill for theirs. 1 kill up to the Aatrox, and the support, a little kill from themselves.
All right, FF, just call it. I mean,
FF, GG, go next. That is
it is a nearly 2K gold lead, man.
Yes. Oh my god. Anyways, that is just, I feel like that's a really good heads up play from Children of the Void. They're going to invade. They have a Nautilus, they got to invade. And the pieces of just aligned, every single star aligned, and then Galio got the 5-man taunt. The moment I saw Galio get the 5-man taunt, Karma instantly killed someone. I was not expecting them to shred the health bars that fast.
Yeah, all that damage just getting layered on was insane. I it is just kind of interesting to me. It's like you have the Nautilus, but then you just never throw a hook into any of the bushes. It's just like we we hold off until everybody on the team is practically in proximity of the bush to throw anything, and it's just like, well then, at that point you kind of just did it to yourselves.
Yeah, and I think it's good that they saved the potential somebody stuff with an Nautilus hook coming in. Samir trying to engage dash. There should be no kills here. Yeah, but just burning all the sums on the side of Children of the Void. That flash taken from the Varus, exchanged for an Ignite. Really smart stuff. They just want to get the level 2. And the thing is, the level 2 is that crucial power spike. You cannot be given those free hooks at that lane if you have any hopes of surviving versus Samir and Nautilus.
Tell me about it. I mean, you have a 900 gold advantage, maybe 1,000 up on the Samira, and they still hit level 2 first. I don't know if that's a testament to how Cali plays or the fact that Samira Nautilus is just that strong of a threat.
And they're looking to go for a little bit more, just simple exchanges. But the problem is, even if they can engage onto Kali, it's going to be really hard for them to really find any value. He has the Vampiric Scepter from the first base and all the gold that he obtained. And so it's going to be really hard to chunk out that health bar enough to go for another all-in. You can already see bot lane that he has that, but now a little bit of trading mid lane. Dashing back in, the chicken bucket's thrown. Both mid laners at very low HP. If I was the mid laner, I would be pinging my jungler saying, we got to kill this guy right now.
There's definitely an angle there. Both of them extremely close in terms of HP right now. They were a bit lower, but now both of them about half. One jungle gank should at least blow a flash in these scenarios.
And just like to ask,
Hmm.
overall, I'm curious. Let's put yourself in the shoes of Lobster, right?
Hmm.
Feel like you are down 2k gold automatically from that
Yeah.
single play. What do you tell your teammates on how to like recover from that and say, hey guys, we can still win this game? Here are the
Mhm.
avenues that we do it.
Yeah, I would say you probably just kind of tell everybody like, all right, listen, it's a mental reset kind of angle. We have an Ornn. It's not like they're giga outscaling us anytime in this game. And you still have to look at the fact that we pointed out earlier that we have Samira Nautilus bot lane. Just because Varus has a bit more gold doesn't mean that he's going to blow up any slower. So if the opportunity presents itself, having a Vamp Scepter isn't going to do much. And we saw that early. Like, literally, level 2 hit, that 1,000 gold difference didn't mean a dang thing, and Kelly still had to blow Flash. So they've got opportunities, and I think those small things there definitely started to give them hope, I would say.
A little bit of action here on the top lanes, auto traded back and forth. Maybe not result in the kill, but they are going for blood. Osiris wants to look for more. The flash auto to finish him off. The Aatrox getting that early lead that he needs.
Yeah, I think Blaziken didn't get the memo that uh, Osiris had quite a bit of damage onto him.
And Zayton looking to maybe clean up this kill, but it is an Aatrox who can lifesteal. He doesn't have any Qs left, stalling out for that cooldown. Can he find it up? The TP coming in from Ornn, looks to want to follow up. Can he survive for just a little bit longer? The answer is absolutely not. The shutdown going over to the Silas and a kill on the board for the Lobsters.
Yeah, definitely tough. Osiris nearly turning that around, just didn't have the CDR. And speaking of which, he does finish a Caulfields with the gold that he accrued after that first kill. But, I mean, right now, I'd say Lobster option is just kind of pulling at straws. They're trying to get their way back into the game any way possible. With this gold lead, it's practically trimmed down a bit more, so they're getting somewhere, but still going to take a bit more effort.
Absolutely. And the Karma Varus doing their thing. They want to get this push in. They want to get these plates. They want to pressure them under tower. But it looks like they're just scared of walking up to that tower, like scared of the Nautilus engaging and possibly taking them out. When they have the honest to God lead, I think even if they engage, you have the exhaust. It's really hard for Samir to do anything if you place that summoner spell cooldown onto her and just trade back into her. Maybe a little bit nerves coming in.
Yeah, it is definitely an angle. I mean, for that reason, you do see Samira having the cleanse. It's primarily just for that and the
Yes.
Galio, so or even the Varus ultimate. So she's definitely going to look to get value out of that. And speaking of the devil, I mean, we do see Wukong's level 5 prepping up there, and so is Silas. They're all just hovering down the spot lane because they are well aware that this is the prime point of contention where all this blood's going to be spilling out. So.
Yeah, of course. And then Wukong level 6 is kind of where Wukong can start to play. He can farm until it, and then once he gets it, he becomes like one of the best gankers in the game. He has so much mobility, and then he gets not just one, but two knockups on his ultimate with pretty decent damage. So if he gets the level 6 potentially on this red buff, I mean he could look for the angle, but his bot lane is sort of pushed up, and I don't think a dive's really possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they'd have to tower dive. Now wouldn't be super bad. Neither Samira or Nautilus are level 6. We do see Wukong is going in for an invade, but I think he's just going to be checking out some camps, not going to try to force anything. But speaking of forcing...
Yeah, the taunt coming out, but Choppy shouldn't really die here. He is an Ahri. He's not going to be able to get taken out super low. I mean, he gets taken down to a certain HP bar, but Galio really has to commit a lot more than Ari does, and the health is actually traded back evenly because of the tower shots that were taken.
Mm-hmm. I
But
mean, right now
now
they're
Zayton looking to go for something here. The wave is crashing. I don't think Void Shinigami can really stick around here, but it looks like his mid laner will just cover the wave for him. Ari also forcing the base. Been a very bloodied mid lane, but overall, no real kills traded back and forth.
Yeah, they're still kind of just going even. The gold lead hasn't shifted from about a little over 1K. Um, so that is a testament. The lobster option has been slowly making way or headway into recovering from that gold deficit they started with, and part of that is even in the bot lane where Samira did in fact pick up a call and is up CS on this Varus. So even while they're getting poked down by the Varus Karma, they do have an advantage in this lane, and they'll probably even out relatively soon. I think when the gold showed up, they were only about 400 gold down on this Varus.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Despite like they were up 2,200 gold, uh, for the side of Children of the Void. Now that it has been reduced to 1,800, and all I'm saying is, if you're given that much of a lead and you can't push it enough to at least slightly increase it, that's going to spell
Ooh.
doom for you. But now the Nautilus engaging, Seitan looking to follow up. The flash out from Ju Seung. Let me see if I can pronounce that. Okay, I'm not the best with names. Okay, all
Me
right, that's
neither.
all
I
I'll
mean,
say. Yeah, I can only pretty much pronounce Chinese names because I took that in high school, but Korean and Japanese names, not the best at pronouncing them. Now the dash is in with the Ari Choppy, looking to maybe take him out. Shinigami, oh, Spell and Doom got no flash to his name and gets taken out. And Ari is not the one who claims the kill. It is actually the Silas getting more and more ahead, and it is the Lobsters getting more and more back into this game.
yeah, for sure. I mean, they're looking to make plays. Silas already hit 6, stole the Galley ulti earlier, just keeps that in his back pocket, and then he's just hovering around that bot side of the map because he's perfectly fine. I think Ornn learned his lesson. He took that 1v1 versus Aatrox, and he's just like, all right, let me just not try that anymore. And he's only down 8 CS, not counting that one death, right? Outside of the in lane. So you can't really ask much more for an Ornn who's just gonna scale inevitably. Might as well focus your attention on every other side of the map that really needs that lead, or at least coming back from that deficit.
One thing I want to point out is that even though, it's been looking like the Samir Nautilus has had lane dominance as the pause, in fact, comes through. Finishing my thought here, Varus is down a 10 CS, but still up 2 kills. And that is huge. Varus being able to, I feel like Samir Nautilus are the ones that would have to engage in the spot lane. They can easily get outscaled. But Varus and Karma, they scale into the late game like crazy. If Varus is able to sit on these kills, get those items, he's definitely become more of a threat than Samira. Especially since Samira going with a build that I really don't agree with. The Dirk early is not really too necessary. If the Nautilus took at a good position, you're going to kill them whether you have Dirk or not. At least from my experience in Samira. And so having that Dirk forces you to go into a Collector when they have a Wukong, an Aatrox, and they have a Galio. So it's going to be really hard to get value out of the Dirk when so many people are stacking armor.
Yeah, I mean, if there is any instance where you'd want to buy the Dirk, it's the earlier the better. Try to get as much value out of that as you can. And I mean, thanks to those crit changes, if he wants to, I'm not 100% up to date as to what Samira builds at the moment, but maybe he's feeling frisk and he's just like, I'm gonna just go Collector IE, and then and, and he's just gonna play for the sheer damage output at 40% crit.
It's interesting. I'll just put it as that. It's interesting if that is the build path and the strategy. Samira
That would be
definitely more
crazy.
known for a lifesteal. I'll say that much.
True. I mean that would be crazy. I mean he is sitting on 2 long swords, so I'm pretty sure like he's not building straight into collector. Um which is saddens my crazy heart where I'm like, oh yeah, dude, collector and IE, surely. But but at least now that he has it, he's just gonna get as much value out of it as he can. It's not like he's an item or 2 items deep and he just builds a serrated Dirk, and at that point you're just like, okay, dude, like come on, really? Like
Mhm.
but the
So just
gold
quickly,
lead shrunketh, has it not? I might
definitely
be.
shrunk it to 300 gold. But I will say, despite the gold lead shrinking, the dragon stacking is solely in the favor of Children of the Void. They have the 2 dragons, and it is in fact an Ocean Soul. Is it an Ocean Soul? Yes. I'm not.
Yep.
Based on those bushes. Okay, yeah, it is an Ocean Soul.
Uh-oh.
Usually, I know it's an Ocean Soul based on like certain other factors, but that's besides the point. The Flash coming out from Nautilus, trying to escape this situation. The Cyclone coming down, and now the Ultimate's laying CC, but it's not going to be enough to take out any members. But the Bears, the snipe from downtown with the empowered Q, is able to finish off and pick up another kill, going over to Kali. And now Saktan wants to look to go for something. Has the Verisol, definitely maybe has the burst if he can make it manage. The flash out from the Mantra empowered Q from Karma, and you know, it was an interesting 2v2 or 3v3, but Varus is ending up the only one who actually got any kills. But now the Trump coming out onto the thing, but their action's so much around the map, and Bedard has found a kill in the lane. This is crucial. The Samira needs to get ahead, and now she's up 400 gold compared to a lane partner who has 2 kills above her.
Yeah, I mean, just more scrapping up in the top lane, if anything.
Yeah, and there's some more scrapping coming out. And now the Aatrox looking to get that 3rd Q, looking to claim another kill, but the Orange just snakes out of that scenario, gets under his tower.
Oh my god, he did it!
Safe. What happened?
He went Collector first!
He legit went Collector first.
Oh my god.
But,
I'm happy.
man.
I am happy.
I gotta talk. Hey,
put it on the board, I called
after
it.
this game, I'll explain it to him.
Put it on the board, I called it. But, yeah, I mean, lots of back and forth. I mean, it was definitely, one heck of a snipe from Cali. He was able to get his piercing arrow around Samira's W so it wouldn't get blocked, and it just kind of max range Pancake Man's there. And got another kill to his name, but even with that, like, as you mentioned, Samira's even if not ahead of him at this point. So you can't complain if you're the side of the Lobster option right now. Yeah, he's up like 300 gold.
Yeah.
And this is what I hate about shutdowns, man. How come the Samira is 300 gold up on the Varus, and just because Varus hasn't died once, this dude has a 300 gold shutdown? Imagine.
Yeah, that's very interesting, especially since the gold lead is actually in the favor of Lobster at this point. And like, if you are Children of the Void, I was saying this earlier, but if you're Children of the Void and you don't have the lead after getting 4 kills in their jungle in the early game and you still can't maintain that, that does not spell good coming into game 2. Like, even if you win this game 1 and are able to clutch it out, like, if you can't like capitalize on that early lead, that definitely does not bode well.
It's definitely interesting turn of events there, where you really want to show that with this lead that you have, you can kind of hold off and maintain these kinds of leads, because that just goes to show that even if these leads get astronomically bigger, it kind of puts into question, do you have the right decision making to handle these kinds of leads? And you may not know, like, I think some people always say that the bigger the lead earlier, the more difference it makes, and even then, it just didn't seem to make that much of a difference. They are stacking objectives, so maybe that's going to be their out this game, but we'll have to see.
I mean, they could get the Herald, get a lot of, like, but, like, the problem is, like, your Varus. That is the rock of your team. That is who's going to provide that damage in the late game, is really going to carry you guys. You are kind of just letting him getting proxy farms. For a Herald, that's not really going to benefit him too much. Like, if you want to get this Herald, you got to make sure that the Varus is able to still free farm, and there's not a lot of pressure going bot side. I don't think that's really even a worth trade at that point, because now the Samira is up 30 gold. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a $150. You know, shouts to my boy Blur in chat pointing out the collector. But as I'm talking about that, the hook's coming in. The Galio ult is going to hit many. The 3-man knock up into another taunt. The Samira in the midst of it all is unfortunately not able to sustain that damage because she has the dog water collector. And now it is Void who's taking over this team fight. And it is Void who's claiming the kills, and it is Kali going for the snipes. Maybe Choppy might get taken down as well. The Q1 from Osiris, the Q2 is enough to finish it off. And now, despite the criticisms from me and my fellow caster, Void stake an early claim and get back up 2,000 gold.
Okay, they turn that fight around. Tough for Bedard there. Still having cleanse available. I guess the CC chain and the knockup was just too much coming out from that Galio, and maybe, like you said, that collector just didn't have enough damage. Maybe it was just not enough, and now we're going into a shield bow second. It's definitely going to be a tough tough hole to come back out from. Now you were down 2K at the early game. You got it back to where you were even if not ahead, and now you're an even bigger hole, which is oof to say the least.
Yep. And I think it's also an important thing to point out is this Aatrox, like he's fed too. And when you like, it's important for Varus to be able to take out the front line reliably, right? You know, but the problem is Varus kind of has to build a Mortal Shield bow to really survive because he is low mobility. He needs kind of that self peel from that item. So he's not able to build stuff like the Kraken and really get that early tank killing status. So having an Aatrox who rushed Black Cleaver to take out this front line, like the Ornn and like the Nautilus, is actually crucial. And I think it came a lot into play on the success of the team.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps out. Black Cleaver is just a huge stat stick at this point, or at least where it's at right now in the game. So having somebody that can consistently apply it to multiple people pretty easily, it's definitely nice to have on your team.
Absolutely. You know, a little bit of walking back and forth. You know, Jusung. I'm gonna say Jusung. You know, maybe if correct me in chat if that's incorrect pronunciation. But Osiris and the rest of the squad, you know, looking to take this tower. But the Ornhorn is looking to stop this. They want to make the play now. The TP's coming in. It's going to be a 4v3 for at least a little bit of time. The Samira is also going to be the first one rotating up. If Void decide to stick around, it will actually be a 5v3, but they want to engage it now. The Ahri looking to get taken out. She Spirit Rushes out, though, and now the Samira with the Collector has arrived. She EQs in. Can she find the damage? The ulti comes in. Can she get the reset? No! Gets shut down, but the health bars from Void are far too low for them to continue fighting. Osiris in the midst of every single member. The 1v3 scenario. Can he find the resets? Can he find the kills? The answer is no and gets shut down, but Void on the other side of the map is able to take out the Sylas. Overall, it is a 2 for 2. Despite how good that looked for the red side initially, they weren't able to capitalize.
Yeah, Bedard, he went in by himself deep into enemy territory and just wasn't able to capitalize on it. Just didn't get his passive stacked up fast enough. I think another second of ultimate ticking before getting CC'd by that Galio, and he probably picks up a kill or two in a reset, and that probably turns into a way better fight for them. But just not having that passive stacked up before he decided to full commit into that fight, it really bit him there. And because of that, it's practically an even, if not lost fight, considering they lost their top tier 1 tower as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. This Varus is still even with the Samira somehow. And the problem with going like there's Collector into the Mortishobo not as bad of a build, especially if you get the resets. But the problem is, as you saw with the last fight with the Samira, she went in on the backline. And when you go in the backline with the Collector, you better kill them quick. And the CC that came out from the Galio and from the Wukong peeled it off the Varus and the Karma to the point of where she couldn't get the resets and she couldn't get the necessary kills that a Collector really requires you to do and forces you to make plays for. But as we're talking about that, Galio trying to engage on the bot side. Ahri probably has the Spirit Rush back up at this point. So she's just kind of toying with the Galio, trying to make him engage, see what she can get out of him. And both teams are kind of going up towards this Baron.
Yeah, I do see Orange just walking in. He does get caught out here. Wukong just starting to engage on him.
And they're looking to maybe get this kill coming out from Blaziken. Now, Gafran, it's one more Q. Oh, but Varus takes it. Gali is the one who actually claims the kill here. Good stuff, man. You know, and now they might just start the dragon, you know, or the Baron. Okay, sorry. You know, I haven't cast in a little bit. I apologize to the people at home. You know, I'm making.
You're good.
We get it done. You know, this is the warm cast. This is the warm cast. Okay, game 2 will be better. Trust me. But Zlatan looking to maybe try to steal this. It's down to 2K, down to 1. Trying to get down to 1K, and he does. He steals it for the team, and he doesn't get away with his life, but he definitely gets away with pure daylight robbery. That's an unfortunate thing. You take out a member, you flip the Baron, but you gotta make sure. Wait, what?
Oof.
He didn't have. I'm hearing that he didn't have vision.
That is
What a
tough.
Giga Chad. The only issue that I could see with this is that now the dragon is spawning soon. So there's gonna be a 4v5 fight, that red team is going to have to take because the soul is up. Maybe getting that Baron might not have been the best idea. Now Void is looking to engage. Galio charging in, getting multiple man taunted. And now the Ornhorn coming out. This engagement is so wild. The absolute fiesta that is occurring. But it is Void that looking to trounce out on top. And the Varus is actually just pure frontlining, but gets taken out by the Ahri. And now she is Spirit rushing away, getting out of that scenario. The red team is looking to re-engage. Bernard is facing and kiting them out, but he's not able to get any dashes, slashes, or the ults in necessary. And now it is Zatan, the man who stole the Baron, looking to maybe be the man to save his team from a lost team fight. But Osiris is trying to shut him down and say, absolutely not, my good sir. The Q3 will seal his fate. And now Choppy is forced to run when his teammates have all fallen on the battlefield. And it looks like the blue side, Children of the Void, claim the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I mean, that team fight was tough. If anybody was watching Vidard there, he was just instantly chunked out of the start, didn't have cleanse available to him, and lost half of his HP. And for the rest of the fight, literally whenever Wukong was in range to get on top of him, he just gunned it for him. He's just like, well, I cannot lifesteal, I cannot do a dang thing in this fight. Even after waiting for Silas to respawn and make it to the fight, he was just never able to commit to any sort of damage. And when that happens, you can't expect Ahri to cut through an Aatrox, a Varus, and a Wukong, and a Galio all by herself. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And, Children of the Void, despite not being able to, I mean, like, it seems like Children of the Void have the better, they're 18-7, they have soul, but the gold lead is only 2,000. I don't want to say it's I want to say it's playable. The intercast energy is like every comeback's possible. And I think this time around it actually is. The Ocean Soul is great, obviously. But as I'm talking about this, Void Shinigami, trying to get the run out. The Everfrost comes down, but the Ornhorn, yeah, this is going to be a pretty easy kill. He doesn't have access to anything else, but the TP's coming in from Osiris, wants to look to go for the 2v2, and now the red team is also going for the TP. Osiris really has got to carry this, really got to put a lot of effort, but the Silas stolen Galli ult is sure to CC him up. The taunt misses, not able to get anything more, and it is all-out bloodbath. The chicken is being thrown. Is it enough to get the reset? No, that will not be the case, and the healing coming up from the Silas is able to keep him alive. And now Void, 2 members down, are forced to run away. That is the play, that is the pick that the red squad, the Lobsters, needed.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stalls them out, and the fact that that Children of the Void just don't have Baron thanks to Silas's steal earlier on, they just have no way of pushing into that. All it would take is just the Lobster option to reset and jump on them and take in a massively man advantage team fight there. So they're just forced to take what they can get up there in the top lane and back off. But like you were saying, the gold lead staying relatively close. Ornn items are going to be starting to come online relatively soon. I mean, Silas already has his, and just all that's left is just waiting on Ornn.
I mean, like, at this point, with the style of comp that Lobster has, they have the Samira, they have the Silas, they have these kind of, like, champions that want to really, like, pick you and take you out early and pick you apart. An Ocean Soul is a little bit less effective because the Ocean Soul requires you to have long extended fights. But the problem with it is that Osiris and Shinigami and Gifion are way too tanky for you to be able to burst them at all. So you need to be able to take down this backline, and it's going to be really hard to find the angles. And now Zatan is getting bullied out of his jungle, not even able to get the blue buff unless he wants to commit the smite, which he in fact does, gets the blue buff, but might get taken out for his trouble. The Karma Root comes into play, but it doesn't look like they can get any more. The 5-man squad is grouped up. They're ready to play. The Verisol comes down, the Charm through, and they're able to take out the Karma with one swift blow with the stolen Verisol. Now there's 2 fights coming into play. The Silas gets taken out now. The Cyclone coming in. The Nautilus ulti onto Osiris, trying to look to stun him up, game him down, take him out. And the Samira ult is able to burst him down with the damage. Now she's going in for more. Gets taunted up, gets knocked up. She's low HP. Guyfun going over the wall, trying to get something to happen. The Galli ult's coming in. The 4-man knockup is what will find and turn the fight in the favor of the blue side. Can they look for more? Another triple taunt coming out. And Griffon, can they look to find more? It looks like they're not going to go for it, but Pancake's men looks up to engage in. That is pure and utter grief. And Void, despite how messy that fight looked, is able to get the triple kill on the Galio and the ace coming through.
Yeah, just a lot of missteps coming out there from Lobster option. I mean, nuts. Like at first you get that pick, but then you decide to try to turn on the Galio, the person with stopwatch.
Oh,
Okay then.
wah,
Okay then.
wah, 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 wah. Wukong gets taken out. I,
Silas
you
with the
know,
pull up.
this is an LCS, bro. Okay, we play. This is more into a peer of what normal League of Legends look like, and that is a normal League of Legends play. Okay,
We like to have fun
that
around
happens
here. So
sometimes.
it's
Okay, we like the Fiesta a little bit, but unfortunately, the Wukong is not going to be up for Baron. And he doesn't have a TP to his name. So if Red Team just bursts in, commit the TPs, which they're gonna do, they can maybe look for this Baron.
I mean, it might be tough. Like, bursting a Baron and Samir don't technically go together that often. And now you do see a TP coming out from Shinigami. They got vision on him.
And now the fight is going into play. Osiris might want to get taken out too early, but Samira actually gets taken out instantly, and that is the primary carry. If you were looking on the side of the red team, their only really hope is for the Silas to pop off in this fight, but he's forced to run. The taunt does land onto the Ornn. Silas popping the ulti, getting that extra healing from the Aatrox, the World Ender, but he's backed out of the fight. He can't get the necessary resets to make that ult valuable, and now they're forced to just run out and go to their base, and the Baron is looking to try to get taken by Void. But Zatan, he stole it once. He maybe can steal it again. But I don't think he's going to make the same mistake.
Nah, he's over at Wolves. He's just not even going to attempt it at this point. And it's just tough where you have this comp where you're putting a lot of pressure on Samir to be able to get a reset or just to get kills. And they just have not been able to do a single thing in any of these fights either. It's just getting chunked out way before the fight starts to develop, or just going in way too deep. Like I was gonna say, back at the fight over in bot lane, they got like 2 picks, which would have been fine, but then Samir is just flashing forward and going in relatively blind, just forces a lot out of them, ends up losing the fight, and same thing happens there.
Now, is that primary objective is spawning within 10 seconds. Every burger is flippable, and if every game is losable, then every game is winnable. If Red Team if Lobsters can somehow find a way to get this Baron, but the Charm lands onto one, can they maybe get the quick takeout? No, Karma gets to engage out the Cyclone coming down to the backline, and the Ahri is taken out as the first member. Zatan going golden, but is going to get one shot by the Varus. The double kill going onto them. Kali looking for more. The Pancakes man is the next one to fall, and the triple kill onto the Varus. They should just turn onto the Baron, but will be they greedy for the more of the kills? Doesn't end up being the Quadra, and the Ornn looking to get that snipe on the Karma, does not find it. And now they say, we don't care about no Elder Drake, we just want to end the game.
Yeah, it's definitely an end angle, and man, it's just a lot of. I feel like the team fights just would not played well. Like I'm just sitting there thinking, like we just saw Ornn cast the ultimate. What if he casted it like right before Samira went in? Like maybe you would have gotten something. Like maybe Prage, hope,
Maybe.
like Copium, but like it just feels like there's a lot of ways the fights just could have gone better, and because of that, Void definitely took this one.
Yep. And they're looking to claim it in dominant fashion. I mean, not dominant fashion. It was definitely like up in the air. But I think the early objectives that they took, they sacrificed a bit of a gold lead to get that dragon advantage, actually ended up paying off in the late game and put a lot of pressure on Lobster Squad to fight when they weren't really that strong. So good stuff coming out from Children of the Void. The 0-4 team going up one game. We'll see how they can perform in game number 2 when the enemy team does not walk in and give away 4 kills. And we're going to now throw it over to our lovely analyst, which I forgot to throw over before the draft phase. Hopefully we get them some love and some time of day. I'll throw it to them right now.
Thanks.
Thank you, Slatty, for an amazing call. And you know what? Honestly, it doesn't matter that we didn't get any analysis out, Jake, because that game was immediately thrown. My entire logic that I was going to bring after the draft was just completely thrown away right once we got into the game. Not even a minute in, and there's 4 kills on the board. I mean, are you kidding me?
It was some really strange invade decisions. The lack of hooking any bushes was called out. Not a single one of them brought a sweeper or active warded any bushes they were going into. That was a really hard throw at level 1 there.
Yeah, it was just really difficult to watch. And the interesting part is, though, I mean, we're talking about this, right? Like, Children of the Void, they haven't won a series yet. They're 0-4. And the Lobster option looks like one of the teams that may be a threat deep into a playoffs out of Division 2. And you kind of got to see a bit of that ideology because as this game went on, it was a 2K goal lead out the gate for Children of the Void. But the Lobster option had their chances back into this one.
Yeah, they definitely did. There was some beautiful Baron steals. There were some great fights on bot lane, getting Samira a kill early. I think the initial Dirk buy is it can make sense. It's the highest single component buy you can get for an immediate power spike. It helps if you're behind, but I don't think completing the collector was the right call. That is something you do when you are very ahead, not when you're playing from behind.
And
Um,
yeah, that's a great point to make. And then, I want to go back to, I can see that Samira point, Jig, because, when you go back to the draft, the lobster option, obviously, I mentioned Bedard is like their star player. He's been popping off for them all season long. You pick the Samira first, the first pick on the red side. You lock in your bottom lane, and the answer the Children of the Void had was flawless. I mean, I already have the Varus, Chains of Corruption, try and lock Samira down when she's going forward. You have the Cyclone knockup from Wukong. You have Galio coming over for a knockup as well. They really just did a great job drafting to shut down Bedard in this game, and you saw in multiple fights. I mean, you heard the casters, right, Jake? Just no way for Bedard to get into any of these fights and have an
he
impact.
just was so close to a couple of resets and a couple of fights, but he was playing so far ahead of his team when I think he could have just comfortably done a front to back, and they could have done it, or at least it would have looked better than a Samira diving in and dying at the start of the fight.
Mhm.
It I think the draft was fine. They just need to clean up a couple of ways that they played. Um, there's another point I want to cycle back to, which is the vision play throughout this game. Um, the Void team really spent a lot of vision making sure that they secured those early dragons. They gave up a lot of farm, a lot of gold, but that vision was really clean and very controlled. And you could see when they were making calls in the moment to go get that Baron that they didn't have that same vision prep. And it was a very reactive play to go get Baron there instead of their planned out vision control. And that's what gave that steal away. No one stood on the back of the pit. No one had vision on that side of the map because they'd been spending it all on the dragon side.
Well, there you go. Got to go to Jake for the vision breakdown. I mean, I was even seeing things, so thank you for pointing that out. It sounds like, the lobster option, you already gave it a couple different pointers, but I do want to ask you the overall broad question before we go to a break here, Jake. If you are the lobster option who's rarely been in this spot down 0-1 to start a series, what do you got to do to rebound and make sure that game three is a reality here?
Run it back. You can do that exact same draft. They had some really good power spikes. They had some really good fights. Just play safe and don't invade. Or if you do, use your wards and abilities to check some bushes.
Well, there you go. It sounds simple enough, but it's time to figure out how they execute it. And we're gonna go to our first break of the night here. But then on the other side, you'll have game two between the Lobster option and Children of the Void. We'll take over draft with our casters. So stick around, and we'll have that in just a couple minutes.
Are we here? Okay. We're good. We're good. Welcome everybody back to game 2 of this exciting series. Void upsetting in game 1. We're able to take out Total Lobster option. Very surprising. I was not definitely expecting that, but let's see what the adjustments that Total Lobster option can make in game 2, and let's see what adjustment Void, the preemptive changes Void can make to see if they can clinch this game 2 and hopefully obviously for them, hopefully not put it to a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, you already see the Lobster option making some adjustments, banning away that Wukong and J4 taken away. Mainly all junglers. They're just saying, hey, we want as little jungle influence in this game as possible. So let's just take those off of the board. Might as well. And Annie banned away. Shout out to Annie. Nice win rate, by the way.
We love Annie. Actually, no, we love Annie in this household. Okay, we stan Annie. But the problem is, Annie, very good bot lane right now. She's like Karma, but she got a stun and she scales like crazy. She's kind of a ridiculous champ, and you don't want to let it through draft if a team is competent at playing her. Because not necessarily that the champion is hard. It's just she's like very weird to play and incorporate into a comp. Because she's got damage and she's got like a shield, but it's not like an amazing shield late game. She's like half enchanter, like half like poke mage, and she's like kind of hard to implement. So I think banning her can be a good idea, especially in teams that are definitely good at making that happen. We see Xayah Maokai locked in. Xayah, definitely quality, very quality AD carry to lock in, but a little bit preemptive. You don't really see too much of the rest of the draft. She's more of a counter pick, and we see. Okay.
Twitch? Oh, the Twitch over?
Okay,
Twitch,
if it's Twitch, I'm having Slayer cast this because I don't want to cast no Twitch.
No. You're stuck casting. You're stuck casting it, buddy. You're stuck casting it.
Damn it. If it was Jinx, okay, but the one thing is, if they was Jinx, I would have said they were trolling because Jinx is really bad. I've tried to make Jinx work. Yeah, I've played a decent amount of Jinx and Twitch. Not Twitch. I've not played that champ. That is my permaban in solo queue, by the way. I just want to let you guys know. I hate that champion so much. But Jinx is actually it used to be the premier scaler not a couple seasons ago, but she used to be the premier scaler last season. But now she's kind of been relegated to, she has long range, she has good damage, she has okay damage, but it's not good as a Sivir, as a Xayah, as a Twitch. So there's kind of really no point to drafting her. You see Ornn preemptively picked in the early game. They don't want to get banned at the second phase, and the Rakan to duo with Xayah to create the lovers pair.
I mean, just off rip, I'm really liking Void. I feel like even though Xayah has that thematic where she does best playing into a front to back, where she has to keep kiting back and have the team run into her, she's pretty strong compared to a lot of the other ADCs. If anybody takes a peek at her win rate, I'm pretty sure it's pretty high, especially in this past patch. So she's really strong. Maokai, even after the nerfs, I feel like he's a really strong jungler, and you can still flex him to top if you really, really want to. I mean, into Ornn, you can probably just handshake that if worst comes to worst. And then with the Rakan, you definitely got angles on that Twitch. He's about as immobile as any AD carry that you can get, and the Karma Shield is going to only help so much.
And I think an important thing to note is that the interactions of a Twitch in-game, he's so weird and unique compared to other AD carries. Twitch oftentimes will just stay in Invis, and then he will pop ulti and just one-shot your AD carry. But Xayah has that unique ability where if she reacts to that Twitch early enough, she doesn't need the flash to get away. She can pop the ulti early so that the Twitch's initial damage gets negated on the backline carries. And that can shut down Twitch's game plan if that's what they need to do to get back in the game. So I think Xayah as a preemptive counter is very great here, as we see the Aatrox locked in once again for Void. It worked for them last time. Let's see if it works again, and if they do another stealth champion. I have nothing else to say besides
FF.
Oh.
All I'm gonna say is FF. I mean, Children of Void, I'm pretty sure they banned Evelynn the first game, if I'm not mistaken. And they let it through this game. And now we're playing against double stealth. Their only saving grace is that you have Rakan, whose engages pretty quick. Don't know why we're even hovering in Ashe.
Yeah, maybe the Twitch mid lane. I don't know. I love Tristana though. Okay, it's recovered. Tristana's my favorite champion. But the thing about going double invis champs is that it's like going to the dark side. Is it better? No. But is it easier? Absolutely. Okay? And you pull out the dark arts, the dark side, if you need to clutch up those games. And if this is your anchor whistle you rely on, honestly, if you play AD carry and you put some time into Twitch, it will instantly make you rank better. You can debate me on that on Twitter at SlattyV3 over on Twitter. You can debate me on that. You are completely wrong. But anyways, Tristana locked in. Now we got a Vex going down. You know, we got some Yordles in a little bit for the last pick. But before we throw it to the analyst desk, overall predictions for this draft.
Yo, I mean, I don't even know if it's a prediction. I just want Children of the Void to win because I don't want that disgusting double stealth comp to win by any means necessary. They got tools, they got Rakan, they got point and click CC with Maokai, and then you got an AoE fear on the Vex. I just hope that Twitch and that Eve get obliterated, but that might be a bit of a bias because solo Q PTSD is one heck of a feeling.
Okay, here's the thing, right? We casters, we always want to go for a game 3. We say it like we're literally sponsored for a game 3. If someone is telling you, if a caster is telling you that we don't want to go game 3 and we want a certain team to win that's already up a game, that means you know you picked the most disgusting loser comp imaginable, okay? And that we don't want to see you win for the champions that you picked. But, you know, as we're getting into the in-game draft and the spec delay, we're going to now throw it over to the lovely analyst to break down this game and what you've seen on the draft and how that could potentially translate to in-game.
Thanks, Slatty. You guys definitely had some heavy-hitting opinions on our draft for this game. Yeah, I mean, Jake, some of them are certainly warranted, and it certainly feels like I'll be a little more reserved. I don't know. Certainly, some double invis is something off the gate. To me, just screams Twitch and Evelyn means if you are the Lobster option, you have to have a lead in this game earlier, some phase of mid game, because if you don't there. This is going to be a 2-0
Yeah,
sweep.
I think that Evelyn and Twitch are really good at making proactive plays, but the onus is going to be on the Lobster option for making proactive plays. But if Void keeps up their vision game like they did in the last game and has a few pink on every entrance and exit from the jungle on the side that they are prioritizing, then stealth doesn't do much because it's not true stealth. It's just camo. Those pinks will spot them out. I'd like to see some deeper vision coming out to spot the Evelyn while she's doing her camp so you can react to her before she leaves her jungle. That makes it a lot harder for her to gank when you know that she is on the bot side and has left and is in the river somewhere. You can then just play top side from mid lane and give up some waves on your bot lane. And we've definitely seen Void willing to back away from, taking farm, even when they had a lead in their lane, because they weren't willing to play aggressive and accidentally give over a couple of kills. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say in game 1 it was obvious why they didn't want to give away kills, right, Jake? Because they were up
Yeah.
2k gold from a level 1 catastrophe that they benefited. But now they don't have to be aggressive no matter what happens level 1 before minions get there, because their comp just scales infinitely better than anything the Lobster option can throw out for a 5v5.
Yep, it's a lot harder to play a pick comp with just a couple of points of CC than it is to play a Maokai, an Aatrox, a Rakan, a Xayah, and Vex. Everyone on that team has significant CC, so Tristana needs to be really careful when she's jumping in for resets.
Certainly does. Now, obviously, I do want to shout out Slay, because I think it is a good thing to point out that I think casters rarely wish for a series to end, best of 3 to end with a sweep, best of 5 to end with 3-0s. But the way you're leaning, Jake, to get prediction out of here from the analyst desk, do you think this thing's going to be a sweep, or do you have faith
No,
in...
I think we're going to have a 3-0. Stealth is really hard to play into, and you need a perfect vision game and to back away. And we saw the Lobster option taking some really good picks even from behind without stealth in the last game. So I think that we should see more effective picks and better map control from the Lobster option this time if they're not playing from behind. I think we're going to get 3 full games. I'm a little bit interested that the Maokai is clearly opted for the AP route here. He's definitely going to build that first with that phase rush, but I think that will still be tanky enough late game that it won't matter, given that we've got an Aatrox and a Rakan to shore up any of his weaknesses from not building tanky.
Yeah, I'm certainly with. I'm certainly with a lot of that logic. I guess I'm the cynical one. I'm leaning more towards our casters here because I just think Children of the Void's composition is kind of a you knocked it out of the park, especially when you're playing towards both meta picks and the composition execution, because it is much easier to execute a composition where you have good CC that you can use as peel to stay safe in the early game to mid game, and then once you get to 5v5s, yeah, good luck dodging out on Maokai jumping on top of you, the charm coming across from Rakan, Aatrox sustain, Vex, Shadow Surge from distance, and the one target you try to get on top of, you're going to try and get on top of Kali, but Zaya is one of the best AD carries keeping the player safe, at least early on. I would assume might even get a Gale Force going here. I could go Kraken for Ornn, but I assume Gale Force, so that's an extra little bit of dash added on top of her entire kit. So I think Children of the Void have knocked this draft out, and it's very hard for them to throw it. And the way they played game one shows that they will play safe and scale up to the right team fights. So I unfortunately think we only have 2 games of League of Legends here, but it's time to kind of figure out where we're going to get there. We're getting through Spec Delay, almost done here, so we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, Slidey and Swift will take you through game 2 to see if the Lobster option have a shot in the series.
What's up, party people? Oh wait, did the thing start? Sorry,
Maybe.
sorry if that was a little preemptive or it was not. Anyways, we're into the game now, and we got the Pancakes man looking at the top line. Direct the camera, man, your camera, whatever it may be. What we got going on right now is we got a 5-point, completely contrasting last game, to say the least.
hmm
To
One
say
heck of
the
a
very least,
contrast.
it's a lot different than the last go round. Wait,
Yeah. So okay, nice recall coming out here from the Pancake Man. Yeah, he's going in for the recall as he has not bought items yet, and now he's got them,
it wasn't
and he
really
does
too
have
bad.
super.
Because, he was going to get the ward down no matter what. And when you leave base, you automatically get the ward anyways. Great feature, right, by the way. For much as stuff we hate, we throw rights away, they do make some good changes every once in a while. Appreciate it.
Some nice
But
quality of life.
we got a chance, I just see, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to say the words that I want to say when I see Twitch and Evelyn on screen. I just apologize for that. But, talking about something good here, the mid lane matchup, we got 2 Euro champions. We got the Doomer versus the Zoomer, okay? And
Yeah.
we'll see how things play out. I think Tristana, as a person who's played mid lane Tristana wants to go for that level 2 and goes for that all in. But Vex is really good at just shutting down that W. Because if you W in on Tristana, she just W's back. And it's kind of really hard for you to get your full bomb and your burst. And if that happens, then Tristana can't get the lead. it's arguable whether who wins that at a certain point. You know, if the Evelyn can't get ahead, you will pretty much only have 80 damage threats, and they're both reliant on auto attacks, which certain tanks can eat alive. We see an engagement on the bot lane. Auto's being flowed. Bernard is in a little bit of a rough spot. The Ignite ticking down. Jusung sticking for the trade a little bit longer than he should have. Might get hit up by the Twitch poison. He doesn't have the level 2, so he can't consume the E and get some more damage there.
Yeah, some pretty intense trading going down there in the bot lane, and even in the mid lane where Choppy does have one of his potions already used, and he's about half HP. Bedard, about half HP himself, does no longer have pots, using the one that he had on D-Blade as well. So, gonna be watching out for this Sire Rakan level 2, but they still have yet to hit it, and they are getting chunked out pretty heavily.
Oh, and the Tristana now jumping in. She goes for the W, taking a little bit of damage to the minions. Can she find the necessary damage for the kill? Does have the W reset. Does not go for the finishing blow because she does know that Vex does, in fact, have that flash.
Definitely a close call, and also surprisingly, Vex does not have exhaust in this lane. Both of the mid laners with TP, and do see Maokai might look for something
Okay.
here.
Tristana won't die here. Oh, okay, this Maokai's a genius. Okay, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, Tristana's W, you can buffer out of pretty much any CC. Maokai especially. It's a point-and-click CC. If you press W while you were getting CC'd, you still end up getting the jump, and so it allows you to skid out a lot of ganks. That's why Tristana, compared to a lot of other AD carries in the mid lane, it can actually be pretty valuable because of that ease ability to escape ganks. But the Maokai smartly flashes so Tristana cannot react with the W, but didn't have the follow-up necessary to secure the kill.
Yeah, the follow-up CC, whether it's Shinigami just didn't have the mana, or the CD wasn't there, or it just wasn't communicated enough, that could have been a kill there onto Choppy, but he used his flash and he was able to get away just in time. And speaking of ganks,
Yeah, Zatan looking to charm up this Aatrox, make him love him a little bit more, but, you know, he's able to walk out, avoid the harassment from the Evelyn.
yeah, I mean, that's like the first king Evelyn's done. Already, like, about a camp ahead on this Maokai. Either that or even did take a base in. Oh man,
Yep.
Darksteel already bought. I'm fearing for my life, and I'm not even in this game.
Yeah, I'm fearing for my life outside the game too. Like legit, it's just if I'm gonna be honest here, one of the biggest misconceptions in league history is that Evelyn doesn't gank till 6. That is the biggest lie I've seen in my life. Right? That's like saying that Twitch won't level 2 gank you if he's going support. Okay, these are just things that Evelyn can do. She can gank lanes early because at a certain point, just the respect that you have to give to the Evelyn, you can't see her coming. So when she does eventually charm you, you're forced to commit sums, and they just get a free flash out of Aatrox for pretty much just Evelyn showing up and saying hi. And as we're talking about that, flash for flash, coming from support, burning it from the AD carry. Now the Vex has come here to play. Can she find the CC? There's no flash on Twitch anymore. Can they find the damage? And is the first blood going over to Kali, able to claim it up for the lovers duo with a nice roam coming out from Shinigami.
Yeah, that was a pretty good execution there compared to the mid lane where you had Rakan going for the engage. He did blade out the flash on Bedard, and that just made it that much easier for Vex to land her CC and commit to that fight. And it looks like they're going to be starting up drag, not even with Maokai. Okay, now he's starting to move over.
A little bit of trade going on the top side. Osiris trading health with Blaziken again, and Satan knowing that the other team is going to the bot side, but now the level 6 going over to Aatrox, wants to look to maybe fight, but the charm lands, the charm comes up, and the kill is obtained by this Evelyn. The Succubus claiming her first victim in this game.
It's beginning. The Dark Seals are stacking.
No. No. Wait. Yeah.
But other than that, the game pretty much even. A lot easier of a spot for the Lobster option this time around. They do have the Ornn. They have some scaling available to them, similar to the last game. But now is the time where you want to see this Evelyn start making some plays. She is 6, so on this reset. But yeah, just definitely gonna be keeping a lookout for that. Twitch already finished up his tier 2 boots. Want to have that mobility against this Rakan. Doesn't want to get hit up by a stray W because now that Zaya's got these items, Twitch is looking quite juicy.
Yeah. One thing I would just want to point out is that like Evelyn is going for ganks on this top side, not because she doesn't want to, but really kind of her only option. Xayah Rakan ganking them is a nightmare as Evelyn because you can get CC'd stunned up so incredibly easily. But now some trades on the top side. And so they're able to get kills onto Aatrox, and Evelyn is just able to siphon off of Aatrox. But that only happens every once in a while, and most of the time Aatrox can sort of escape these ganks. So this kind of farm, like, you know, I call it a farming source, even though it is technically a player. Like, this farm source of going top lane is not really going to last you for the entire game, and we could see Evelyn struggle to really make an impact on this bottom side.
Yeah, it's definitely an angle. I mean, Rakan does have the tools to kind of keep the bot lane safe. Has a lot of that mobility with his E. Speaking of E, he just used it.
Yeah, Zatan looking to make me a complete and utter liar. The charm does land onto him. Can they find the CC necessary? And Zatan gets a double kill with the claws. The grand entrance be damned. He finds the second kill, and, you know, shuts me the hell up, for lack of a better term. He can't get the bot lane, apparently.
It was a good setup on Pancake Man. He had that flash W tether onto the Xayah, made it so that even if Xayah flashed away, that tether was gonna land and keep them in place. And that's all she wrote. I mean, if you have Xayah and Rakan in the same spot, all that AoE damage coming out from Twitch and Evelyn was just enough to seal their fate. And now we got a 6-stack Evelyn 8 minutes in, and I'm starting to cry on the inside.
Okay. Oh, wait. Now we see Gefjon looking. He's got the Maokai ult. He doesn't end up landing it, and they have no vision of Twitch. Oh, they find on the Pancake Man. They should be able to at least claim this one kill. Bernard does a little stutter set, maybe thinking he can save his support, but that's not going to be an option this time. Got another kill going on the Xayah.
At least they're putting it in the right place. Kind of sad that the Maokai ulti was just barely out of range, but definitely wanted to time it properly, and they nearly made it out as well. So there's only so much you can do. Eve now, though, on the top side of the map, does get spotted out by the vision plant, though. Vex able to check her.
Oh, the Evelyn is up 10 CS. Up 3. Am I go? Yes, I remember how to do the spectator stuff. Thank God.
True.
Okay. The Evelyn is now up 1,100 gold into the Maokai, and is the highest gold out of anyone in the game. The only person that comes even slightly that comes close is the Xayah. She has 3,400 gold. But a fed Xayah versus a fed Evelyn, a bit more of an interesting matchup, and you can't really boil it down to just an 80 carry versus an Evelyn, which would be instant death for the 80 carry. She has exhaust, she has the ultimate. If she times these abilities properly and gets the feather pullback, I think Evelyn could struggle to really kill her in these late game teamfights, especially if she can get ahead.
It definitely kind of
Oh, but the heat-seeking missile from the Vex ult, the Tristana, the Buster shot out, and the flash to fall is able to keep her alive despite it looking completely doomed in that interaction.
Yeah, Tristana having that ultimate available to her to just knock anybody away from her. Definitely a huge tool to have, and definitely came in clutch there. Ooh, Maokai might get caught here.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of rust spot, but we'll actually have the man advantage once more come, but Zatan is just looking to claim his 4th kill, and the Darksteel is sacked up to 8. It's like, you know, like in Twitch stat, when like Caston's in the game, like in LCS, they have it so he's like pointing to a timer. I feel like they need to like do one, but for like Darksteel sacks on Evelyn. You know what I'm saying? Just so and it's just like that with Monica S. Or Monka S. And it's me every time.
Dude, it'd be like, I always think of what was it, double lift with anytime.
This guy is dead. He's not dead. If he didn't have flash, he was dead. But he had flash, so he's able to survive that. And as Evelyn is kind of just like tearing up the rift right now, getting really tearing Void apart.
Yeah, I was gonna say where it reminds me of double lift. I think it was where anytime he missed the cannon, it would just be like -1 or something, or like +1. But it's like anytime anytime Eve gets a kill and adds to her dark seal, just be like +2 Monka.
+2 Monka, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, no, double lift, definitely the most memeable AD carry in the LCS. You know, I ain't no 100 Thieves fan, but I'm sure as hell I'm a double lift fan. But, you know, Void is definitely a fan of these objectives. Despite the Evelyn getting that early advantage, you know, when you have like a jungle that's really strong this early game, you would expect that they should be,
Talk to him. The stolen dragon. I mean, they matched their quota. The Lobster option has stolen one objective the first game, make it another one in this game, and
And Choppy look at this and say, you know what? They grief, so I gotta grief directly back. And the Evelyn looking to maybe get caught out here. Maokai coming in from the backside, and now the grand entrance. But now Satan doesn't have access to the ulti. If they have some backup, which they don't, they can't really take her out. And now it is Twitch, gonna be Twitch, looking for the maybe potential play. The exhaust comes through. I think Twitch is dead as hell here. Oh, shoot. Okay, he makes the outplay. What a goat. Okay, anyways.
Yeah. Good old Twitch.
Actually, that wasn't really an outplay. He just kind of outed them and like won the stat stick fight. I think that's just a really weird. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, and now they're looking for more. The flash out from Bernard, the ignite ticking, but it's not going to be able to take him out. Jun Sung forced to back out. He could have maybe gotten the kill, but Twitch with an amazing flash fall. But all I'm going to say is, Zaya had a Kraken, Twitch had a recurve bow and a Colt, and he won that fight.
No, he didn't.
And he wasn't exhausted.
He didn't.
What do you mean he didn't?
Zaya was sitting on Noon Quiver and Crit Cloak that entire time.
Oh, okay,
He was
okay.
just
That
sitting. He was just.
pure grief then.
Yeah, he was just sitting on mad gold. I was like
Oh, yeah.
wondering, like, when is this dude gonna base? And he just takes the fight with Twitch, and I'm like, dude, like, he just straight grief.
And that, yeah, AD Carry's not really known for having stable mentals and quality gaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
I'm sitting on like 1.6k gold or something. I'm sitting on a whole mythic. I'm gonna just like take the fight now against the dude with ignite. Like,
yeah.
it just happens sometimes.
I think the only like issue that was coming out there, but talking about issues, one issue that I can definitely see here is their jungler, this Maokai, getting caught out, and they're looking to take the Herald, of the objective hungry, Void team. Unfortunately, not able to get all the objectives because of a shrimple mistake, coming out from the jungler, and now that's another mistake coming out from him, really costing them the Herald as well, and it is on Evelyn. Even this Evelyn's running a tear through the rift, and
10 stacks, by the way.
if you are the red team, how do you stop her?
So my first thing, it's like I'm a fan of Kraken on Zaya. I feel like once you have that, you can just start building a bunch of like pure damage, not even attack speed crit items, and you can make it work pretty well. Just because Kraken's passive gives you so much attack speed after more and more items. But I mean, when the only tank on their team is a Ornn, and there's a whole even a Twitch, I mean, surely Gale Force or a Shield Bow is better in some kind of capacity. At least that's what I'm thinking. Like, do we really need it?
Okay, from my experience on AD Carry, if they have a singular tank, Kraken is mandatory.
I mean, do we really? I mean,
we don't know. We don't know. We're not the players. We're the analysts. We try our best. It's up in the air. But what's not definitely up in the air is, oh my god, there's a massive fight coming down. Okay, Jesus Christ, this is a clown fiesta. Anyways, now Zatan is looking to engage this Evelyn onto 1 versus 2, but now getting dove is Bernard, and Choppy looking to claim some more kills on the backside. The jump in from the Justana, forced to flash back out, and now it is a 3v4 into the tower, but the flash over Blazikus wants to look to grab the kill onto the jungler, and he does find it with the Ornn passive and the Ornn horn, but if they can somehow take out this Evelyn, this could be a huge shutdown. She has no mobility tools, forced to walk out. A bloody fight. I think it was pretty even in terms of kills, but they don't get the shutdown on Evelyn, which is kind of what you need to really sort of come back in this game. You need to get those Magi stacks out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, you have a whole 5 for 5, like a 5v5 down in the bot lane. Pretty much as bloody as you can get it in between the tower and everything. Just looking at that entire fight already was just hard enough to keep track of. But yeah, the fact that Evelyn made it out alive, is kind of tough, because when you just keep taking these even-ish trades with the Lobster option here, that Evelyn is just going to benefit more and more off of it. At least that's the way I see it. If the team is just racking up kills and going even, and this Eve just doesn't die, it's just better off.
Yeah. Like when I asked you the question of like how do you come back from this game if you're the red side, if you had just said no, you don't. Just go next. I would have died laughing, and I would have trued that all the way home. Okay.
Yeah.
And Evelyn is one of the hardest champions to really deal with, because it just feels, because every single time she's doing what she's meant to do and randomly kills you mid lane after you slightly misstep, it is just the most tilting experience you ever felt in your life. And she's definitely looking to tilt maybe more, stalking her prey in this river. The dragon is spawning now, but Void does have the prio in terms of the jungle, but you gotta have those pink wards. They're placing them all around. The Vex ult unfortunately misses the crucial cooldown, and the Maokai ult's gonna fall. Like, if I am red team, I'm saying eject, get out of here. We don't have our cooldowns in order to fight this, but it still looks like they want some kind of in.
I mean, the main way they need to play out these fights is just look for this even, look for this twitch. I'm really not the biggest fan of how they played out those fights where they're just like looking to make, oh, we got to make a pick here. I feel like where they blow Rakan, Vex, and Maokai. I feel like the way they need to play these fights out is just wait till you get vision of Twitch and Eve, and then pull the trigger on one of them, just like that. Like if Twitch just like decides to open up Maokai Flash W or Rakan RW, like something like that. But when they're just out of vision, you don't even have a clear shot on who you're aiming at. I don't think you need to force it that hard, especially with the Zaya where she's not even doing her thematic job, which is wanting to kite back.
I absolutely agree, and I think it's great to piggyback back off the Zaya point. It's that like Zaya as a champion is so good when the enemy team is fighting into you. However, there's a certain threshold where even if they're fighting into you, Zaya just can't output the necessary damage to win the team fight for her team. Like if the Twitch is fighting into you, if the Evelyn's fighting into you, they just have so much raw damage that even if you play towards that objective, you can't really get the dub in the team fight. And so now your team is forced to play forward and look for these picks, which absolutely doesn't benefit like one of your members, one of your primary characters.
Yeah, like it really just has to be let them. I'd say if I'm the side of Children of the Void, I'm just gonna let them start up the objective at that point. Because if you have Twitch or Eve touching that at all, then you have clear vision on one of those, like one of the more threatening members on the team right now, right? And then you can just say, all right, let's focus this guy down, let's poke him out, or something of that nature. But when you're starting everything and you have no idea where the two Invisible champs are, that's just giving so much more angles for the Lobster option to just disrupt an entire team fight. Because Eve pulls up right on Zaya's face. How are we gonna play this team fight?
Yeah.
You're just not.
You just can't. And the worst part is just Eve is just like the snowball monster of doom, right? Because she's so fed, she can walk into your jungle and you can't contest her. And then if she walks in your jungle and can't contest her, you don't get any vision. And if you don't have any vision, then you can't see her when she's invis. And if you can't see her when you're invis, you just lose the game. It's like the snowballing like cycle of just Evelyn when she has that lead is so incredibly oppressive that it's very hard to deal with. But the biggest weakness of Evelyn is that there are certain champions that I think are unfumbleable. You know what I'm saying? Like if when I play fighting games and like some people like joke to say characters like if you play a character in tournament you can't fumble the bag with them. I think Evelyn is definitely a champion that you can fumble the bag with. Because if you lose these Magi stacks and you give away that shutdown, this game I think could be as good as even.
Yeah, I mean, it's like at this point, what more can you ask for? You literally have a champion with a point and click route on Maokai. Like you have the tools to take them down, or like to hold down that Eve for long enough for any other CC to like land, right?
Oh no. Okay, good preemptive ult, but is that gonna wait? The E pullback. She's taken down to half HP. Can they end up killing it? The shutdown goes over to
There you go.
Zaya, and they're able to turn this fight and Barrett's up. There's no damn way that Void find a way back into this game. We discussed about it earlier. They did exactly what we were talking about, but even then, I'm so incredibly surprised and impressed.
Thus, the Magi stacks have dropped. We can all breathe a sigh of relief and pray. But it's literally like how I said, where it's like, just let them come into you. You don't have to make the play. All it took was Zaya to root up that Eve for like a second, and then all the remaining CC followed up. You got the shutdown into the main carry, and the fight just fell apart for the side of the Lobster option. It's like, dude, you don't have to fish for these picks on people that you can't even see. Just let them waste their time trying to make picks themselves and then jump on them after the fact.
It's just, what can you do? Like, at this point, you took the Baron. You need to be able to utilize this Baron. They have every single tower up. What lane assignments do you go for if you are the side of the Void, Children of the Void?
If I'm Children of the Void, I'm probably just barreling down the mid lane at this point because having, like, you can take maybe top tier 1 or and bot tier 1, just those, but I'm not really going to want to go any further because you're playing against even a Twitch. I feel like it's more important to just have that control over the middle part of the map, and you definitely don't want to have your team split up in like a 1-4 or like a 1-3-1, because at that point you're just asking for Twitch or Eve to pull up on them solo and then just one-shot them.
Yep, I can absolutely agree with that. And now, as we're talking about splitting and maps, which usually happens, it is a pure 5v5, except it is a pure 5-man stack for Children of the Void. We do have Tristan on the top side with that TP who can come in for this dragon spawning within the next 3 minutes. And they're looking to engage early. The Shrelia is popped so they can disengage. And now the Maokai ult and the Aatrox ult are wasted just like last time. The
Come
only
on,
ult
man.
they can't do, they can't keep getting away with it. It's just they burn the ults with the Shurelias and now they can re-engage, but they do have the Prowl. If they can take this and get this out scot-free, that would be huge for Children of the Void. But Evelyn looking to steal and she finds it
Bruh.
for free. Oh, but now that Evelyn is forced to use ulti, they know that they can re-engage, and they're able to take out not only one, but most likely 2 members. Another kill going over to the Vex and Xayah, and now that they've taken out 2 members, that gives them the power and the leeway to push down these lanes, but Tristana this entire time has been pushing top lane.
Yeah, so you nearly give up top inhib. You do give up the dragon. That does put the lobster option at soul point, which I would have thought that shouldn't have been possible. Unless they were just ungodly ahead. But if they can stop that, if they can get this soul in the next couple minutes, and then just have triple mountain soul on a team that shouldn't even be scaling, it will make this game a lot more even, and it'll probably give them a way to come back into this. Because right now, even though they have a bit of a gold lead, I'd say they're a little behind.
No. Okay, I was trying to do the Jaws thing, but I failed horribly. But the TP's come out! They're looking for blood! And they're trying to find it on this Maokai. But the disengage is pretty well placed. You know, Xayah, but they drop the Shroudlies now. Can they look for more? They definitely need to go for this angle here, especially since Vex is on the timer. Now they burst out the Twitch. He can't really have the avenue to fight no more. And despite the fact that they committed the double TP for that play, they get 0 kills.
Yo, that's crazy. You mean to tell me Maokai ult stopped them from engaging? What?
What the hell? Okay, hey, genius. Anyways, now Shinigami. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, this is actually turnable. Hold up. Wait, does Zaton have ulti? No, he does. He does ult have ulti back up.
Shinigami
He does
has flash.
commit the flash for it. Could potentially be engaged on, and now the ulti back out. Can they look to find... Evelyn is too chunked out to really get too much vision or anything to add. The Grand Entrance layered onto the Ornn. Can they take him out before he's able to get this ulti on potentially the side? No, he gets the 3-man knock up on the Twitch. It's free fire into the back line. This champion is so incredibly stupid and broken. I hate it so much. Anyways, back to the fight here. And now Twitch is autoing onto Kali, but the exhaust coming out. Can he make the hero play necessary? First team, one more auto. Can find it. And the ulti coming back out. Can he find another kill? No. Forced to flash out. A double kill for the Xayah, but the rest of his team fallen on the battlefield, and Choppy is pushing in this bot lane.
I think it was partly just Shinigami just bit off way more than he could chew. He gave himself the opportunity for Zayten to get on top of him, follow him with the E after the flash, and now you got Eve back up to 14 Magi stacks. Choppy just barreling down these lanes and pushing with that Tristana E, already cracking open the inhib in the bottom lane, and they were getting close to being tied, but now they increased their gold lead back up another like 3k or more, like 3.5k gold for the side of the Lobster option. And with the mountain drag, or like the last drag coming up in the next couple of minutes, I definitely think that's their play to look for.
You know, we could talk about gold leads all day, but I just want you all to view the 3rd item in Evelyn's inventory and check that number for me. It is back up to the red zone, okay? It is back up to the Evelyn one-shot range zone, and especially when you look at that first item in the inventory, she's got so much AP to the point of where if she can find she can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 picks in a team fight if she layers her abilities correctly and properly. You gotta take this Evelyn out the moment that fight starts, or she gotta grief it.
Pretty much. I mean, 561 AP. You do see that Kali is on 3 items right now. Just finished his Bloodthirster. That's kind of just what I was talking about, where you can just build straight AD items or AD crit items on Xayah, and it's just gonna pay dividends for you. But now the main thing you got to worry about is, as you mentioned, this Eve. You got no MR to deal with this Eve, and some people say that it's like, there's no point in building Maw because of when it pops and how big Eve's execute is. Ooh, flash already blown. But yeah, I mean, having a bit of MR is always nice, but just the presence of Zayten with the kills that he has and the items that he has on him at the moment is just making it really difficult for anybody on Children of the Void to walk up without being like tagged along with a buddy.
Yeah. With the objective spawning, Baron's going to be the first one within the next 10 seconds. Oh, but can they finally go into Choppy? The jump already used. Choppy does have access to the flash, but is going to have to also use it with the Buster shot combination. But Osiris can look to potentially chase down one more auto, and they get the shutdown on the Tristana. Can they stall it out in time for the Drake? They have the man advantage. Dragon is going to... Oh, my God.
Uh-oh.
Dragon is going to spawn beforehand. And so now, even though they have the TP, it's not going to come into time, and it's going to be a 5v4. This is the best case scenario. This is the best shot you got. But the Ornn looking to shut down those hopes and dreams. Lands the ult onto the Xayah. Zaytan has the flank. The TP's coming in. The Ornn goal to engage, and he gets the double grand entrance onto the back line. But Bernard is able to narrowly escape. But forcing the ult out of Twitch is huge. He doesn't have that for the team fight. And now they're looking to take out this Dragon. Can they maybe do it?
Eve's got ulti.
Okay.
No blast cone though.
I pray, Void. Please, please, please. Yes! Okay, they secured the objective. I am definitely not biased. Anyways. And now they get the soul, and they stall that out a little bit long. Not the soul. They take the dragon. They stall it up for a little bit longer. But now it is the blue side. Because they have Choppy coming in with the TP, they know they can force this Baron while Void is going out and running back to their base. Does Void have any idea that's going on? I don't think that. I think it's a yes.
Yeah, I think they might have like some idea, but they just have too many minions piling up in their base. They've got to deal with them at this point, and because of that, the Baron just goes just as quickly as it spawned, and with that, you just got a bit more of a gold lead going over for the side of the Lobster option. But now we're in just a very tense state where how these fights are played are going to be a very big factor. It's not just going to be stat stick versus stat stick, like, oh, this guy just has more items and we win. A lot of it's just going to come down to how each team is going to position in these fights. And depending on how bad a fight goes, we could probably see an end, because these carries are ramping up in items. Like, Triss just hit 3, Xayah's building towards their 4th. Like, there is no lack of damage in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely a back and forth game, and like the team fights are like really important. Like at this point in the game, from your perspective, hopefully if Kali doesn't get one shot here by the 2 Invis champs, who do you think wins the 5v5 overall? Like, I know we've seen the fights, but like who is genuinely favored? Like who is favored theoretically?
I feel like Children of the Void is favored. So long as Xayah isn't like caught out by Eve, and for most of the game, Kali's been positioned pretty well. There hasn't been that many angles where Eve's gotten on top of them. Speaking of getting on top of somebody,
The charm coming out, and now the Maokai is sprung his trap, and they're able to find a quick kill onto one. Can they find it onto more? And now Bedard is getting one shot by the enemy team. The Ornn coming out to try to save his teammates, but 5 members of Void are still alive. And the Vex, the Shadows, coming out to try to take out the Seven. The forcing the flash out. Can Choose Song survive the situation? No, he cannot. And he's forced to go golden. And Kali forced to defend his member, but can Choppy beat Osiris in the 1v1? Looking like the answer is going to be yes, but jumps in. And now can he get the lifesteal? Can he get the sustain? The answer is absolutely yes. And now G1 defending the topside tower, and that fight looks so good, but it doesn't seem like they're gonna get anything out of it.
Yeah, I mean they got 3 kills. If it wasn't for Rakan overextending a bit, it would have been a 3-for-0. Oh no, Kali, surely you're aware. He has exhaust. He has exhaust.
Oh, let's go. Oh, thank God. Bless up. He should have died there 100%.
Bless up for the Bloodthirster shield. Eve just doesn't know how to calculate or see what's in front of that health bar. So, I mean, with that, you got pretty much what you came here for. Now Kali has the Hex Drinker, does sit on a pickaxe, so we got some kind of MR on this AD carry. There's going to be a bit less of a threat. Surprisingly, we do see a defensive item coming out of Zaytan here. He built a full Banshee's Veil for this Vex and this Maokai.
And now, Hex Drinker, Bloodthirst, you got the anti-Evelyn technology.
The anti-Evelyn technology. I mean, yo, I would have been so anti-Evelyn technology, that pickaxe would have been a whole Negatron cloak. I'm not even capping.
That's actually hella based. I'll be real. That's like
sometimes you gotta do it, bro. I feel like some people just don't like. They're like, 900 gold I got to spend. Do I get a Vamp Scepter, which is like some AD and some lifesteal, or like 40 plus MR, 50 MR? Like, hello?
And that could be the difference between like a one shot and a non one shot. Like, because if Evelyn has to force to commit ulti to kill you, especially with how ahead she is, that is definitely not good for her. She wants to use that ulti in a multi-man scenario to take out multiple members. And now it is kind of the Evelyn and the Xayah doing a little bit of dance on the top side and doing a little bit of dance in the jungle. The dragon is spawning within the next minute, but Tristana doing Tristana things, and split pushing wants to look to grab this inhibitor. But this inhibitor is going to not really provide them any immediate value. And I mean, yeah. I think the one thing that it'll provide, though, is that definitely what'll, no, but the wave on red side is actually big enough to where they can't really get any value even if they win the team fight to end the game. And now they're grouped up, looking on for the dragon. This could be the game winning or losing fight, depending on how well each of them wipe. My prediction is not going to be. How about you?
I mean, it really just depends on how this fight goes, but the waves are in a really awkward spot for both teams. They don't really have an angle to end, I don't think. Mid lane's just way too pushed up for the side of Void to use it to push to end the game, and top side's just nowhere near getting close, even with the inhib dropped. Xavi doesn't even need the TP, and he's looping back around. They might look for an engage here. Rakan's looking over the wall.
Looking for the engage, but I don't think he's finding the necessary members that he needs to. And now it is him getting backed up with the Tristana bomb, layering onto multiple members, and now the Vex with Arch and Shadows gets multiple people. And now the Evelyn is able to take out and one-shot 2 people, but is going to be caught for troubles, has no access to the flash. She gets shut down by Xayah, and they're looking to claim another dragon, the second Mountain Drake to stack on the side of Children of the Void.
I mean, it's like, even though it's 2 for 2, you don't get the kill onto the Twitch or the kill onto the Trist, both of them relatively low. You got what you came here for. You got the kill onto the Eve. You cut the number of Magi stacks down to 12 again. Great news. You finished the maul on a Xayah, so already big ups. And now you've put yourself at soul point, and if you ever get Mountain Soul over this Eve, I mean, at that point, you're pretty much chilling. Like, Xayah was practically untouched that entire fight, and that was with Eve practically standing on top and ulting her.
Like, at this point, you know, I was saying in the early game, how do you come back if you're a team with Xayah? But now I'm going to ask you the alternative question. You're struggling in these fights. You've lost like 3, maybe 4 fights in a row. How do you start winning these fights, or how do you win the fights before they even happen?
I mean, honestly, taking a 5v5 fight is just not going to be the angle at this point. You know, it might very well be an angle for Tristana to just solo push and try to end the game that way. I'm not even going to lie, because you have Invis to work around and Ornn for, like, disengage if you really need it. I feel like you just let Triss go by herself and then just stall for her. Because you got stall tools, and they don't necessarily always have vision of you, so you can play around that to your advantage if you really want to, because winning a 5v5 team fight is just not in the cards right now for this team comp of the Lobster option.
I definitely agree that, but it's Vex clearing this mid wave, and both mid laners now have the TP. And Evelyn is kind of looking for this angle, but unfortunately does not find the charm. She dodges away out of the Ornhorn. I'm looking at this Xayah. What can she do to keep herself safe and keep herself healthy? She's in the midst of multiple members now, but But the Evelyn ult is not going to catch any of the members that it needs to. Bernard, in the midst of 3 members, gets taken down, and Void Kali goes legendary. Shoppy now coming in with a Vex on from absolutely the across the map from downtown, is able to say, "Get the hell back here, I'm taking you out of the fight."
Okay, so that happened.
That was amazing. But Zatan, I will say, if they steal this game is definitely winnable, but it doesn't look like he's going to be going for that.
Yeah, flash in, it would definitely be rather risky. He's just going over the wave, and I mean, Choppy, shoutouts to him. There are very few people that will willingly TP away when somebody's nearby, but that was a really solid ult coming in from Shinigami, literally following him halfway across the map, I'm pretty sure. He just capitalized on what seemed to be a very haphazard decision coming out from Choppy. Because I don't think him being in that fight really would have changed much of anything, considering how it turned out.
I would be inclined to agree. And now, as we're approaching sort of the end game, potentially, you know, I don't know. The game is kind of at a razor's edge now. We got exposed inhibitors, but The problem is only really the mid lane is open and ready for you to push if you're on the side of Children of the Void. So one mistake, one problem, you could still potentially lose the game. It's such a it's such a crazy game. It's a crazy game. That's all I can describe it as.
Yeah, because I mean, it's dead even practically. When it's only like 300 gold difference, it's just one kill and then you're even at this point, right? And with the powered minion waves coming in, a lot of gold that you can just even this out like nothing. Um, but the dragon is going to be coming up in a bit of time, and now it's just each team is just tiptoeing around each other because both of them know one false move if Zaya gets blown up too quickly, or if Shinigami's not in the team fire, or if somebody else like Osiris gets caught.
They are committing all the abilities. Zlatan, the only problem with getting that pick, no, they're just gonna push mid lane. Red side is forced to walk back, and they don't have an Aatrox. They are down 4v5. If they get taken out here and get split up, it could be potentially dangerous, but they're looking on to play, make for this play. Kali goes in. Kali doesn't get one. Oh, but they potentially find one, and now they find two, now they find three, and the Vex with the shadows is engaging, and she keeps going for more and more and more, and now it is the red side of Void who takes out all the members, except for the lone man, Evelyn. Can she save the game? The death timers are way too long. This is 40 seconds, and they have the Baron pushing minions. This could be an end angle.
It might be, I mean, but like, you still have Eve Ultimate coming up. It's already halfway done at CD. Rakan is extremely low. Vex is at half HP with no MR. You might be able to do something, but it's definitely going to be a close call. They might look to push to end the game here.
And Children of the Void looking to say, you know, we may have won once. We may have won twice. We may have lost 3 times. We may have lost 4 times. But the 5th will not be our loss again. And now they take the Nexus, take this series, and shut down the Invis Dumb Champions.
Man,
Last up.
that was a hype game, but I got what I wanted. Not biased, totally.
Yeah, no, but that was a very exciting game. I will say, no matter what happened, you know, that was a very exciting game, very back and forth. Love the stuff to come out of it. That was a great series. That was a great series, even though it didn't go to game 3. Which most of the time, like when people think of amazing, like good series, they think of the game 3. They think of like the last nail biter. But those are 2 really close games, and it just nearly tipped on the side of Children of the Void's favor.
Yeah, I mean, even at the start of the draft, I was like, I just really liked Voice Comp, even with the small mistakes that they made getting caught out. It's just the nature of what the Lobster option played, where it's just like, you can't play perfect against something like Eve Twitch. They're just champions that morph the game, that you have to play it a certain way, buy a certain number of pinks and all that kind of stuff. And even with that being said, they played the game really well. Like, they played their team fights pretty solidly. Once they stopped trying to go for random picks when they couldn't even see anybody, they practically won every fight. And it just got to a point where they just outscaled the Eve Twitch, and the rest was history, I guess.
Yep. And I would love to talk more about this amazing, impeccable game. But I'm unfortunately going to have to close it on the caster side. I'm so sorry, guys. Swift Duelist, is there anything you want to shout out? Any Twitter potentially you want to plug before we send it back over to the host to round out the games we had today?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at Swift Duelist. I don't really post too much, but I do be retweeting whenever I cast, so you might catch me on there. And shout out to Children of the Void for getting their first series win, and hopefully that continues for their sake.
Big ups for them. I mean, they played with confidence. They played with poise. You know, they showed me that even though like they got a 4-man invade and got their 4 kills, that was not a crush. That's not what they needed to win game 1, and they came back in game 2 and really shut down that 6-0 Evelyn that was so intimidating. But for me, I gotta shout out the boys at HSG, Blur, Cryptics, Bazing, all the people coming out, and Dre, all the people that came out to show this team and say hi to me. I appreciate you all. And I have to also shout out myself, because I'm awesome. Follow me on Twitter at SlattyB3, okay? Banger tweets. No bad tweets. Trust me. I'm not joking. No banger tweets. Anyways.
Hey, also, shout out to Danny. Sorry, I forgot. My boy Danny was watching.
Shout out to Taco Nova. Shout out to our lovely hosts who are going to show how lovely they are by closing this out for us. And I'll see you guys. I won't see you guys then, but hopefully you can catch me on another stream. I love you guys. See you, hosts.
Well, I don't know how to react to that throwback to the hosts. I've never had somebody throw back to the hostess to close out a stream quite like that. And Jake, I think the original takeaway is don't pick Invis champions as slatties on your cast.
Yeah, I mean, it's asking for a caster curse at very least. I think that they did a decent job with the invis proactive plays early on, but once they got those easy objectives and they needed to get deeper past some real vision, the Rakan and the Maokai always had a pink ward down in their own jungle so they could catch people rotating deep. They stayed as 3 or 4 every time they were rotating, always had a warding buddy. It was a little bit rough early when they were trying to make weird picks, but Void really cleaned up their play throughout the end of that game and made it impossible for the Evelyn to get her job done.
It's hard to think that Children of the Void were the 0-4 team, and the Lobster option here were the 3-1. One team looked a lot more. The Children of the Void just looked a lot more posed. They looked a lot more poised, composed overall. They knew that okay, we give a bit of an early lead, but to bounce back the way they did was absolutely phenomenal. And they had a lot of standout plays too. I mean, Shinigami blew up a lot of those late game fights on the Vex. You had Kali as well on the Zaya. If those two guys aren't making those arguable outplays in those fights, the Lobster option would have closed that thing out a lot quicker, and we'd be looking at a game 3.
Absolutely. The anytime they got one threat down on the Void side, Vex would pop off or Zaya would pop off. They could never get both threats because they were never on top of each other. It was really clean.
Certainly was really clean. And now Children of the Void, well, it's unfortunate because they're 1-4 now, 2-4. I can double check the standings, and maybe there's like a 0.1% chance they make playoffs, but there is not in my eyes. So they've been eliminated, but it's maybe not as fun with not making playoffs and winning games, Jake, but it's always fun to play spoiler.
Yeah, like it's real satisfying to at least knock a team down in the stand-ins when they're going into the playoffs. It feels like they are definitely hitting their stride and coming together as a team. I don't know if they've played together before this season, but I hope they stick together next one because I think they look great.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder as we're rounding down the Dominate regular season. Next week's week 6, so that's the final regular season week. And for everybody who's still with us, we appreciate you. The top 4 teams from each of these divisions, with 8 teams each, will be making the postseason, right? And currently, Lobster Option were in 4th place at 3-1, so they dropped to 3-2. Genius Uprising Academy was right there at 2-2, so they're got a big smile on their face. They've got to send a thank you basket to Children of the Void because now they have a shot to compete week 6 for a shot in the playoffs. Now, Lobster Option, that week 6 game means a lot more. Certainly poises us for an amazing final week of Dominate, Jake.
Absolutely.
Well, that will unfortunately close us out for tonight's broadcast. Before we get out of here, Jake, do you have any final thoughts about the wackiest series I think Dominate's had so far this split?
I just really liked the vision game from Void. It was really on point both games. It made sure that they didn't take fights that they didn't want to based on their win conditions, and it looked good.
Certainly did. And hey, you close out your season on a 2-0 run. That's always nice. Well, I certainly enjoyed my time here. I hope everyone did at home as well. That is going to conclude Dominate Slate here on Sunday. But don't worry, Risen Action is still going all week long. Tuesday, the Divine League will be back in action, and then you can pick right back up with your weekend slate of Risen Action with the Draft League. You have Unstoppable running on Saturdays, and you come all the way back around to Dominate on Sunday. A majority of those leagues I mentioned, by the way, are close to postseason action, so things are really starting to heat up. Slatty already gave a lot of thank yous, but shout out to the Slatty and Swift combo. Just must-watch television on Twitch tonight with the cast, and then Taco behind the scenes, making sure everything looks great. Jake, your analysis was on point. You're now the vision expert of the Dominate. I'm giving you that crown with the breakdowns that you got on some of the vision battles in this series, and that will close out shop. Enjoy the rest of what you can of your weekend, and we'll see you guys next when we see you.